as we jump into the draft, let's have a look at what both these teams are going to be preparing for. I would imagine that a lot of these teams would have been preparing way earlier than this. Their strategies, their drafts, at the very least, their game plan that they've set in motion.
Yeah, I mean, MHRLK, they had more downtime, so they had a lot more time to actually look at other teams playing. So they would have been able to study the meta of the tournament at least. So I would say, in terms of that, they would have that edge in terms of understanding.
I feel like we haven't gotten to that point, especially with tier 2 teams, right? They're thinking about making it into the MPL, making it into some big tournaments out there internationally, and this is only the very first step. So I feel like, you know, really identify yourself, play to your own strategies, play to your own win conditions, and as long as they do that solidly, then once you reach like that top 4, that's when the counterpicking really matters.
Right, so for their opponent, on the other hand, obviously they played more matches.
Yep.
But sometimes for players, it's also to maintain their momentum and also really to try out stuff inside the game rather than try out in scrims, because the situation is very different. Scrims, they have different objectives. Sometimes they want to train on, okay, we want to secure the second Lord, for example. Everything else doesn't matter. But if in a tournament setting, it's all about dishing out the best, and your opponent will also show your best. So it could be an advantage for them as well, because they are being tested all the time. And if they're being tested again, they know that they're already there.
Well, it depends on the quality of their matches. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a scrim partner, you want someone who's clearly better than your team. You can't win, you can't learn by winning. You got to lose a couple of those games. And that's something that we have to keep an eye here, and especially for PBE Strike. Couple of weak games, a little inconsistent here and there, but overall, they definitely have a recipe for disaster. All right, the draft is up. It's going to be MHRLK Esports on the blue side with PBN Strike on the red side.
All right, so here we go. So we're going to start with the ban, obviously. I do expect to see some of the popular bans. Like, I'm still sticking to like a Valentina ban is probably going to be there. Maybe if they just don't want to think too much about evading certain things, maybe a Franco will be banned as well. So those are the common bans, I would say.
I would expect at least within the first two picks the first two bans on either side is going to be very meta-oriented. We see the Fredrin immediately banned out here, one of the best junglers, highest win percentages across the globe, with PBM Strike following up with a Fanny. Personally, for me, I feel like Fanny is a give or take, right? Unless you got Kyrie at the end of that Fanny, I don't know. Some people, they think it's great, others don't think it's as good.
Yeah, so obviously if you always want to try to think of like, okay, what if they have a lot of mobility? And what if they have more than one mobility, right? So hence banning the Fanny, it does make sense. But the Kaja comes in as a first pick. Now Kaja, I would say it's a very good initiator. Like you flicker in, you pull one out, and then as long as you pull the right target, you pretty much can win that initiation fight.
Absolutely. It's very snowball oriented, and even if you don't have a snowball, it's still relevant. But based on the picks and bans that we're seeing so far, it's very clear that PBN Strike wanted to make sure that Wanwan wasn't going to get attacked to the backline by Joy, so they lock it in with the farmers for an added level of reinforcement now that they've already noticed, hey, they've got Kaja, they've got Ling, and they also have the Farsa. So it becomes very clear here what both teams want to do.
Oh, I'm really liking the Farsa pick from MHRLK, because you can imagine that the lockdown that comes in from Kaja, locks down, ulti comes in, and it's a lot of burst damage there. And at the same time, you got a Link that has high mobility, can go for the backline. So even though if they try to get away from the Feather Edge Strike, Link can actually one-shot and finish it at the end.
Absolutely. I think MHRLK are going to be looking... They got rid of the Martis already, which is already a pretty good shout. If they want to keep going that direction and banning out junglers, they still can. But my guess, probably get rid of an EXP laner. Either Lapu Lapu, either Benedetta, or even along the lines of Yuzong. I would... It really depends on the player matchup here. But final ban for PBN Strike going to be the Harith. At least it tells us they are definitely wanting to play for the gold lane.
Yeah, so I think both teams will be the same. Both teams want to pick their own goal laner. So I would say Beatrix is still open.
Beatrix, Lunox are both very good here. Ooh, Hayabusa, MHRLK, making sure that the junglers are going to be clamped down here, which does mean that there is a potential way to exploit that Farsa if the EXP has a means of gap closer. Again, the top three that I mentioned before, Benedetta, Yuzong, Lapu Lapu, all still on the table. Instead, they take away the Lunox from MHRLK. Now their gold lane is in a bit of trouble.
Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to think like, how Ling is going to be countered because of how much mobility that Ling has, though.
A lot of it is going to depend on the mid lane right now. Based on what we can see, at least with Farsa and Kaja, they technically should be able to clear the waves faster than the lead in Faramis, which means that they are going to have first rotation, and therefore it should be slightly harder time for PBN. Very tough to say here, but it doesn't mean that MHRLK doesn't have the hero pool to whip out. Oh my goodness, the Lapu Lapu is already really good, but especially when you have that Melissa as well, it's going to be a bit of a tough time if you're pinned against the wall, and an even tougher time for the EXP laner to jump on the back line.
Terizla, very, very interesting pick. Only pick one so far with a 100% win rate, so it's 1 out of 1. Overall, I'm kind of liking MHRLK a little bit more. One is because of they have better mobility. That also means that they can switch from team fights because they have the Kaja together with the Farsa, switching from team fights into, okay, if team fights doesn't work, we can do the split push because of the link.
Absolutely. And I think PBN Strike, at least they scale towards the later stages of the game with the Lunox. And at the very least, even if Wan falls behind, once she gets her items, she's still a force to be reckoned with. With 20 seconds on the clock, has your predictions changed?
I'm still sticking to MHRLK. I think they have more options for themselves in case one option doesn't do well. Then they can switch to the other option, or they can switch back whenever they want. As compared to their opponent, I think it's really focused on trying to take team fights.
Absolutely. They're going to be playing around the gold lane a lot. Guys, our round of 16, very first match is about to begin. If your friends haven't caught up to date, well, too bad for them, but please send them a link so they can watch this match as it begins. Welcome, everybody. The Land of Dawn opens up once more with MHLK on the blue side with PBN Strike on the red side.
I do have a little bit of worry that they might be too dependent onto 1-1, and they might want to play it out late. But then again, that is of course not a good idea, considering that for their opponent, they're able to do the split push. So if they leave it out too late, by the time when 1-1 hits the power spike, they could have been punished by it.
Absolutely. I think for the most part, red side is going to struggle a little bit, but as long as they don't fight to hit the level 4s, they should be good. Nothing should occur from this, but we see that Nami is going to back them up and push the entire team out, allowing Lunox. Lunox in the jungle. I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay, that's a good one. Hopefully be able to scale as fast because they definitely need Lunox activated as well. Probably going to go with.
All right. Moments before disaster, you might actually get a kill. Nope, Ghostbusters, unfortunately, not available as of right now, but Bloods is going to initiate on to see why he can't take this much damage and needs to get on out, but he managed to get a good chunk on their jungler. However, on the bottom side, Nanami is still holding on for his life. Kevin making sure that he has his EXP laner up and running before this upcoming turtle fight.
Ooh, I'm really impressed to see like how these teams they are playing just by the edge of their life. Like they know how much they can take before they fall back, and that kind of pulls out a lot of skills from their opponent. So their opponent cannot continue. Plus, they're like what, level 3 by now. So it's not like they can go overly aggressive just yet.
For sure, and I think Ling just ran out of his purple buff. He's probably going to rebuff himself before actually making his way to the turtle side, which gives PBN Strike at least a little bit of time to position themselves around the turtle. And I mean, Nanami, he really needs to hit level 4 here, but we can see the full commitment coming in from CJ. Feather Airstrike as well as the Bravest Warrior should be able to secure this kill. First blood achieved as backline gets attacked. Enax is out of there, and now, Daizo flickers in forward, knowing that Kelvin is about to come through, but it's going to be CJ who manages to get it, pushing forward and now securing the turtle with the man advantage. PBN Strike have to back off.
Oh, he was lucky that he wasn't punished by using the Feather Airstrike in such an open area, but then again, perhaps it's also some of the teams that are not ready with their skills yet because the cooldown may be a little bit longer than usual or than they would have expected as compared to later on in the game. But looks like they're going to get another one.
Another one easily taken over. Nanami, unfortunately, didn't read the situation well enough with the support and jungler just taking the purple buff and making his way up top side. Let's have a look at the items.
Okay, so far, let's see. I would say nothing unusual so far. I think everyone's basic, but anyone without boots? Nope, everyone is with except for Ricardo. Yeah. So it looks like he's not banking on the boots just yet. Looks like he may. I'm just wondering what's he in for. Probably he just want to be the frontliner just to tank it.
I mean, he's looking for cost-efficient ways to achieve stats with his build, and I think, you know, getting the steel plating, steel leggings, as well as finishing off tier 2 boots is a good option. At least he'll take a little less CC later on into the game. But for now, I think what's really scary is that CY already has a corrosion scythe in comparison to WONG, hasn't completed her very first item yet. So that's why we're seeing a lot of pressure here. But now the initiation has begun. ENAX won't be able to make out of this. He goes down. To get away from me is already up, but the stun is through with the Noon Blast. And now, with the help of the Call Altar, guarantees 2 kills in the bag. Gold lane has fallen.
And definitely there will be a full-plated there for PBN Strike on top.
There we go. Pause has been called. I think that was definitely understandable. There were moments for sure where you would have expected a Divine Judgment to come out of him. So yes, he will be facing technical issues. It doesn't mean that they're completely off of the game just yet, but at least gives us... Oh, it's not like he forgot to use his ult.
Yeah, it does look like there was a little bit, but I mean, it happens, right? But anyway, looking at the start of the game, I can see that there's a lot of aggression coming in from both teams, in fact. Like, they go back and forth. It's just that I don't see any jungle invasion yet. Yeah, because I think that it's really important, especially if you like have a Ling, to try to get those buffs, or if Ling is on your opponent, for you to try to cut those buffs away from Ling, because Ling is very dependent on the purple buff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's true.
So it would be beneficial if, like, let's say you focus on winning that part of the jungle at least.
Well, I think it's a little tough to say, right? I mean, PBE is putting a lot of emphasis on this gold lane, and as of right now, I think so far, H is doing a very good job. I mean, their Melissa already has a corrosion scythe compared to the WONG, so every 1v1 engagement isn't going to be that easy for WONG. And not to mention, even the EXP has taken a good amount of punishment. So I feel that at the very least, since you are on the blue side, might as well put your resources into your mid lane, start pushing it out, push that advantage out. Once the mid lane tier 1 goes, Lunox is never going to touch a purple buff again. That I can guarantee.
Yeah, but it's also not about like Lunox touching the purple buff. It's also about denying your opponent the purple buff.
Exactly, and that puts you even further ahead. But once again, the Nami caught out, doesn't get over the wall with the penalty zone, refuses to flicker. I respect that, Nanami. You made a mistake, we understand it, but now he's 0-3, putting him at least a full level, if not 2 levels at this point, against CJ in lane.
Well, at this point, we can say that in terms of goal difference, definitely it's siding MHRLK, but looking at how they are controlling lanes instead, PBN Strike could come back as long as they could enable 1-1 and Terizla, I would say. But Terizla is kind of suffering, 0-3-0.
Well, I don't think Terizla is ever going to be able to come back into this game personally. 2K goal lead, it's tough, but let's see how this engagement goes. PBN starts taking the left flank, tribe rush. CJ needs to get on out of there as the Feather Airstrike is already down. This could be an opportunity. Bladed Tempest in the middle, doesn't get any knockups so far, but we see John, he's able to find one, and they get Ripplication as they get pushed back. PBN refuses to give any space whatsoever, takes 3 kills for themselves, and backs off.
Oh, too bad the Feather Strike could not continue on. They kind of stopped it. Not going to go on to Daiso, that's for sure. But that was a good team fight, I must say. They know what their objective is. They need to stop the Feather Strike first. The moment they did that, that kind of caused MHRLK to like panic. And when they got together, they got punished back.
Yeah, I think a lot of this just came down to Ricardo, right? MHRLK cannot be putting so many resources into a support, but now, Ricardo actually having to run away. The backline is dead. Nanami's willing to give up his life for a hire, but Ricardo still managing to live. Ling finally secures the kill with a Blade Tempest. Unfortunately, the Call Altar doesn't come out in time. Yu has to back off, and now we see the turntable as MHRLK now 2 kills up 6 minutes into the game.
Oh, that was really fast. But I was also kind of wondering like what everyone was doing up there, because I thought that once you secure the objective, it's best that you kind of spread around. Either you try to take control of your enemy's jungle, or you farm into other lanes to make it a little bit more efficient. But probably that's their idea as well. They wanted to open up the 1-1 Blitz Anzai. He got a good free farm at the bottom lane, because that seems to be their objective. They need to let him hit that power spike.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're playing 1-1, no matter how far behind you are at 3 to 4 items, you can definitely be relevant in these team fights. And that's a big problem for a lot of these professional teams or semi-professional teams.
Yeah, well, at this stage, they can be called professionals, right? They are in such a high-stake level of this tournament. But looking at the current condition, we can see that PBN Strike, they want to secure this area. Definitely, they want to get the total. Looking at the current scenario, they will be challenged by MHRLK, but MHRLK a little bit sprout, looking for the backline.
Good flicker, feathered airstrike. Oh, into the save by the call Altar. The turtle is gone, but now Anex is trying to get on out of here. He trades 1-for-1 against Bloods, but the backline is getting attacked by Lapu. Rightzel, he should be able to secure this kill, but the front line now slowly starting to crumble. The EXP deficit is too much. A CY is going to start farming the members of PBN one by one, and that's going to be a team wipe here from MHRLK. They secure the objective, and they secure 5 kills.
Looking at their positioning earlier on, PBN's right didn't check their corners. Right, just look at this. Calvin from behind came in, and no one knew he was there. He was waiting in bushes at all time. Whereas when they're in that area, when they want to secure that turtle, they should be checking like, okay, let's check a little bit of the bushes. Let's check like a little bit inside just to know like where our enemies are at least, so they know how to position themselves. But because they did not do that, Calvin caught them by surprise, and that's how everything just falters.
Well, I think, you know, PBN at this point in time, and especially during that fight, like a lot of resources were blown as soon as they saw the Ling. I think they should respect Ling, of course, but they need to be able to hold on to their ultimates. It is such a key resource that they can't afford to let go of so early on, similarly to the feathered airstrike.
Yeah, so unfortunately that had to happen. I think they kind of underestimated the position of their enemies. They thought like they saw 2 people coming, and that's it. But then again, here's the thing about MOBAs, right? If you see 2 people but you don't see the rest, you gotta think that they're somewhere in the bushes.
Right? You gotta think a worst case scenario as quickly as possible. That's understandable here, but with 22 seconds left on this next neutral objective, conceal play already coming on through. Ricardo has been revealed. Does he know what he's about to walk into? His 4 members patiently wait, revealing 3 so far. And now PBN Strike gonna fall back to their tier 2s, knowing that the ground has been taken.
Oh, interestingly, Terizla at the bottom lane. Looks like he's all alone. Terizla better get to his teammates, because we can see that MHRLK, they are ready to take this fight. They know that the Lord is kind of like a bait, because they know PBN Strike needs to get the Lord. If not, they will be in big trouble. Oh,
they're stalling here. MHRLK know for certain that they can get their Ling to rebuff, so they're going to slowly start this to try and bait PBN out into open combat on the field. The Nami, he's opening the map slowly, little by little, waiting for the right opportunity. They don't see the commitment yet, and I think PBN Strike is doing a very good job at identifying, hey, we don't see Ling just yet, therefore, we don't need to really fully commit on this. They see him mid lane, and now they reposition time and time again. This is the Lord dance that you should expect.
Oh,
wow.
Started. Oh,
yep, but the Ricardo, he technically should be gone here. Do they chase the kills or do they play for the objectives? And very good decision making. MHRLK continues to take it, but also wants to kill. Kelvin, don't do it, buddy. You don't have to. You can walk away from the situation, and they play disciplined.
Yes, discipline is the key word here. If he went for it, definitely he'll be gone. They have everything to lock down him under the turret. So good move there.
Yep, and they also take away the purple buff. If I wasn't able to get that double kill, at the very least, I'll take away your purple. You ain't touching that anymore. So now PBN, at this point of time, oh, it is a 7K deficit, and it's not easy, especially with MH already at 34K.
Yeah, and if we look at the macro movement of the teams, right, like the Lord, for example, MHRLK, they know that they're in control of the game. Everything's on their side for now, like in terms of goal, in terms of securing the map and all that. So PBN Strike, they know that they cannot let the Lord go. So MHRLK, they know that they're going to come towards them. They're always prepared. That's why they didn't finish up the Lord quickly.
Nanami in so much trouble. Body of the Smith ain't able to keep it up. Numenon Blast doesn't even connect. And now a feathered airstrike to chunk out the Cult Altar. They ended up losing 1 more man. No, Bloods is still alive, managing to get his ult off just in time, but loses his Inspire as well. With a man down, MHRLK will start taking everything away from PBN.
Oh, here we go. Look at the Lord down there. Gideon is going to push at the same time. So now they're going to do a little bit of a split push here. The Lord's going to push in the middle as well. They're going to do the same. It's going to be tough for PBN.
I mean, this is the very first Lord, but Feather Airstrike once again. Anybody dare brave enough to walk forward here? No, they catch nobody. They decide to back off. There's no need to. The first Lord generally is weak. They can buy some time, wait for the next Lord, get a Luminous Lord, and they can guarantee an inhibitor.
Oh, I realized as well that the moment Lord was pushing down, Ling actually opened up to the top lane. So this is what we talk about, the mobility that MHRLK has. They have options. They can do team fights, they can do split push.
Oh, and immediately one Feather Strike is all they needed to get Kelvin a kill. Bloods instantly popped. No time to react to that one. Poor guy.
Oh man, he didn't even see it coming. It was like immediately deleted and was inside his base.
They know the damage that they have to do. Ricardo walks up with the shield. Guardian's Bulwark isn't enough. He dies to Kaja anyways. And now Kelvin, knowing that he's so far ahead, cuts through the call altar, willing to manhandle all five. And then Nanami tries his best with a penalty zone to lock him away. But CY is going to make sure that PBN doesn't get back on their feet.
Well, the good news is that it's not over yet for PBN. We did see a comeback in this tournament before, so anything can happen. Definitely MHRLK cannot let their guard down. 10 more seconds before the next slot comes out, and we can see that they're starting to gather around there with Ling being at the Lord area.
Lord Enhance already secured, and now the rest of... honestly, I don't know about you. I'm not going to joke around, but I don't think PBN is coming back from a 12K goal lead at this stage of the
I'm
game.
being positive, man. Being positive.
I love your positivity, but this is a pretty dire situation. Like, PBN, if they win the next upcoming team fight, it doesn't matter what MHRLK did in the past. Doing so, trying to 50-50 this somehow, that ain't easy.
Looks like they're not getting any buff at all, not even an orange buff. Okay, this is going to be the last draw here for PBN, not going to lie now.
Yeah, they're going to synchronize the waves here. Now PBN, they have to really think about this. If they can take out Daizo, or at the very least take out CY before the Lord crashes into their base and manage to get out with 0 deaths, they have an opportunity. But here we go, they find the first damage. Feather Airstrike is counter engagement, as well as the doll. The doll is dealing so much damage, somebody stop him! Nanami is already gone. Kelvin is going to clean up that mess with Lord pushing into the crystal. This game is done and dusted. MHRLK Esports take game 1.
You know what? The moment I saw 5 of them gathering at the bush and everyone else from MHRLK like kind of spread out, I know, okay, that's pretty much it. Because they will over-focus onto one hero and they will spend all the skills there and they'll immediately be countered upon. Especially if you're Link. Link came in a little bit later. Calvin, as usual, being the typical assassin, went in for the backline, and everything was done.
You could see, I mean, PB, they were really desperate to get something back. They were willing to go for a support and not a priority target at that point in time. So kudos to this team. And they did a phenomenal job this round, especially knowing how to press